Hello friends, today in this video we will speak about sanctions. Primarily, what is the definition, what are different type of sanctions, some examples, what are the objective, and how these sanctions are important and what need to be done by financial institution. So let's understand what are sanctions. Sanctions are a way to financially isolate a target, which can be a country or regime. They may be imposed for a variety of reasons. It can be political, military, or social issue, etc. The international community can use sanction to change the behavior of a country or regime in cases where that country or regime is violating human rights, involved in terrorist activities, or endangering international peace and security. So, what is the purpose of these sanctions? To change undesirable behavior, for example, Syria. Sanctions are imposed on certain Syrian citizens or entities due to their participation in terrorism, acts of public corruption, or their destabilizing activity in Iraq and Lebanon. To limit opportunity for undesirable behavior, like one of the example is Iran, extensive restriction on technology or knowledge in nuclear sector. In response to Iran continued illicit nuclear activities, the United States and other countries have imposed unprecedented sanctions to censor Iran and prevent its further progress in prohibited nuclear activity, and also to deter other countries from choosing an undesirable course of action. Some of the example of sanctions are an arms embargo, ban on weapons, military vehicle, etc., an embargo on the import and or export of certain goods, software and technology, restrictions on loan and credit for certain people or companies, freezing the assets of certain people or companies, travel and visa restriction for certain people. Now, basis these example of sanction, uh, so we have divided sanction into mainly into three types: comprehensive sanctions, sectoral sanctions, and targeted sanctions. So let's understand each sanction in little detail. Comprehensive sanction is a type of sanction prohibit all direct or indirect import or export, financing, technology or services. It is mainly for countries responsible for gross human right violation or nuclear proliferation. Like one example we have already talked about is Iran, and another is Syria, which is going through comprehensive sanctions. Now, let's understand what are sectoral sanctions. A sanction which are imposed merely to restrict the ability of certain key sector to access financing or export or import requirement, equipments, technology or services. Then comes targeted sanctions aimed at specifically named individual such as key leader in a country. It can be a terrorist, it can be a drug trafficker. And these sanctions often include freezing of asset and travel bans wherever possible. Like one of the example can be sanctions on Osama bin Laden and its organization Al Qaeda. So let's understand who can impose these sanctions. Sanctions can be imposed by UN Security Council, the United Nations, and the individual country. In case of UN sanctions are managed by UN Security Council committees. The UN Security Council can take action to maintain or restore international peace and security under Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. The Security Council has applied sanctions to support peaceful transitions, deter non-constitutional changes, constrain terrorism, protect human rights, and promote non-proliferation. In case of European Union, in general terms, the European Union imposes its restrictive measure to bring about a change in a policy or activity by the target country, part of a country, government, entity, or individual. They are preventive, non-punitive instrument that allow the EU to respond swiftly to political challenges and development. Now, in case of individual country, United States also sanction countries. They also sanction individual. They also sanction entities. And one of the best known list is the U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Asset Control specially designated nationals and blocked person list. Updated often, the SDN list contain thousands of names of individual and businesses, as well as aircraft and ships, vessel from more than 150 countries that the U.S. government consider to be terrorist, international narcotics trafficker, or others covered by U.S. foreign policy and trade sanctions. So these are mainly the few organization or a country which impose sanction. However, individual country can also impose sanction basis their discretion. Now, let's also understand what are the sanction compliance for a financial institution. So before a financial institution start doing business with new customer or engaging in certain transaction, it should review the various countries' sanction program requirement. And financial institutions subject to sanction compliance are required to screen customer and transaction records against product updated sanction list. So this is where we talk about sanction screening, and it is quite relevant for every financial institution. So we will talk about sanction screening in a different video, but from right now, thanks for your time and thanks for listening to me, and you have a nice day.